Attention, everybody. The views and opinions expressed on the show are not necessarily those of Acts Ministry, Acts Media Group, and/or its affiliate and subordinate ministries and/or nonprofits. Some of this content may be adult in nature, so please use discretion while watching with your kiddos. Hold on. Good morning. Coming to you live from Acts Media Group headquarters here in beautiful Springfield, Missouri. It's the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay.
I am going to like and share this video.
You're going to like and share this video, and you're going to like it. You're going to share this video, and you're going to like it. That's right. You know, that was always something I thought was funny when parents would say, you're gonna go there. You're going to like it.
Yeah. Like, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Who I was before. See for the first time. All right. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Drive with Matt and Jay. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
And we're glad to have everybody on board with us today. It's a beautiful day today in the neighborhood. And sorry, I'm sharing to my news feed.
We love you all. Thank you for joining us. You're a great help to us.
Yep. Just so you know.
So it doesn't say the topic. I put it in there.
Yeah, it does. The
Where?
Morning Drive, what it's like to be a teenager. It doesn't say it on the background.
No.
But it does say it on what it's like to be a teenager today. It says it on the old on the side.
I don't see it.
Like if you open it up, it says it right underneath the Morning Drive. So, anyways, what it's like to be a teenager today, and you got two middle-aged men talking about it. I can tell you what it was like to be a teenager when we were kids, and I'm sorry, we're so
Sorry.
boring sometimes first thing in the morning. Well, because you know we're sharing this stuff and we're having a good go of it, though. At least the internet, as of right now, the internet is working fine. So, got a lot of stuff going on here today. After this, we got the learning curve. Haven't decided what we're going to practice. So, I mean, we got the phone thing pretty much nailed down.
Yep.
So I don't know what we're going to be learning today. We just need to, we'll practice our phone calls.
There are some things we need to learn. Setting up a new template.
Oh, good morning, Larry Melton.
And setting up the layers properly.
I forgot.
Correctly.
I think starting next week, I think we're going to start giving away $100 a week, and it's our like and share campaign.
Won't that be cool? Oh, guess what? I need to. This is what the problem was.
What?
I did not turn on the rolling remote.
Oh.
Nor did I turn these up, which are always down too far. And so that should.
Yeah, look at that.
Yep, there we go.
It's cool because I can watch what you're doing.
You see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see when we go live, when the audio's on and all that stuff. So it looks more professional in here.
It really does. And it's getting better.
Yeah, it sure is. Praise God. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Amen.
So, all right, I'm going to share our, oh, that's yours. Okay. I was like, who is that?
So there was a scripture, and I know this isn't the right time for it, but there was a scripture yesterday. What was it? Do you know what the scripture of the day was yesterday?
You can actually go back and look. I don't think. Velma Violet likes our story. So we got a couple people on this morning. What it's like being a TJaner. A TJaner, Jay.
A teenager.
Yeah, I said
Yes.
TJaner.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with me. Let's start out the day by letting people know that apparently I don't know how to write in a checkbook register.
Right. Yeah.
The plastic,
This shout out to you, Barney.
Yeah, and he let me know. Thank you, Velma shared it on via her messenger to people.
Thank you, but
that really, I didn't even think about that. So we were able to get reports at who shared what, and we will be definitely. I wonder if this will. Oh no, it won't. Okay, so I was hoping we could share it on Instagram, but we got from.
And shout out to all of you lawbreakers out there driving cars that are not legal.
Yeah,
you know who you are.
who's not driving their cars legal?
It's not a special guest though. It's not a regular. It's not somebody who's here right now, but it might be. Probably is. It is.
I don't understand what you just. So, is it Larry?
No, somebody very close to Larry. Maybe his closest friend.
You must be talking about Jackie. Calling you out on that, Jackie.
That might be. You might be close on that. That could be the one. But I think it's cute. It's funny. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope they let you go.
Well, I mean, if you're driving something, if you get a ticket for that and you show up to court with.
It's insured. It's double insured. I still don't. I called them and said, "Hey, I don't have that vehicle anymore. Take it off my insurance," and they didn't take it off. So I'm still paying for insurance on that car. So it's double insured.
Oh, you're talking about the Jeep.
Yeah, and she's covered under occasional driver because it has been parked, and this is just the first. I think that's probably the only a couple of drives. So it's insured.
Who was it?
If you need proof of insurance, Jackie, let me know because I have it.
Becky.
Huh?
That tagged us in that post where it pulled up over at that men's ministry house.
About what?
It was the Jeep, and there was a Good News Band logo on the back.
Yeah. That was Jackie.
He let her go.
Oh, he did.
It's hard not to let Jackie go.
She's
such
adorable.
A sweetheart.
Yeah.
She's always got this little smile on her face.
Yep.
So it's she's definitely very adorable.
Yep. All right, so what are we doing?
So
we have an article to read today.
Being a teenager.
Yes.
Today. You wake up every day, you want to be better, to be someone that you're not. Every day you have a new goal. Some being more realistic than others. They all happen to be a stretch. What's the downside of having all these goals? They simply aren't you. Now, too short, too tall, too fat, too skinny, too veiny, too short of hair, way too long hair, too many piercings, boobs that are too big, too small, too many pimples, too many freckles, you're too hairy, you bad teeth, too much makeup, caked, ugly clothes, out of shape, bad at sports. Here's just a taste of some of the things that
did you skip something?
Teens say. Yes, I did. That teens say to put their peers down.
Yes. And worse.
And worse, yes. So this article talks, you would be fine weighing 160 pounds instead of 140 and to have that pimple on your forehead. But society is a mean and nasty place. Nobody can be happy with who they are and what they're not.
And what they've got.
What they've got. Jealousy plays a huge role in the teenage years. If you don't have a thigh gap, you're considered fat. If you do not get straight A's, then you're an idiot. Constantly trying to live up to the movies, trying to find that dreamy guy with the best body, dreamy face, most sincere personality, and vice versa. Simply living life the wrong way. Social media is a huge factor. Now, we talked about this the other day, about social media. Yeah, being a teenager now is...
It's unique in its challenges.
Yeah, and I think...
It's no different. I mean, we all had to overcome our challenges.
True of that of of each
Generation.
generation. You know, like you said, now, when I was in school, when you were in school, when the bell rang and you went to class, you were safe from said bully.
Yeah.
Now you're not. Physically, you are, but socially, you're not, because now there are cyber bullies, which get online and start posting stuff to Instagram and Facebook.
And that's
things like
networked not just in your school or the schools your teams play against, but the world.
Yeah. And there have been, countless suicides because of this. A guy having intercourse with a girl and then posting all about it on Facebook or whatever social platforms. And we've talked about this. No matter what generation you're in, when you're at that age, a social death is more worrisome to a person than actual death.
Yeah.
They worry more about social death than they do actual death.
Right. They'd rather die. Yeah.
Peer pressure is the most powerful influence on a person.
Yeah.
And it doesn't change as you get older, really. I mean, you get to where you don't care about that because, by the time you're an adult, you have that select few friends that are good, and you're good with that.
Yeah.
Like I was telling my son the other day, who we meant for him to be on here to talk to us about it. But, I'm trying to think of what I was going to go with that.
Well, about the cyber thing.
Yeah.
And how you're exposed immediately to worldwide in every way. And the criticism spreads so much faster. Plus, it happens in class. Well, I don't actually know what school is like now. I don't know if they can have their phone in the class. I assume it's just like before. If we had our phones in our pockets, we'd find a way to use them during class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And Jordan does.
Yeah. So
I'm trying to think of what I was going to say earlier. My brain just kind of farted on me.
We were reading the article. Maybe that'll
trigger. And I tell Jordan not to follow trends. Try not to follow trends. Try to set them. Because if you're just following what everybody, what you feel that, I mean, and I guess that's
some trends are good.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's still, don't follow them just because they're a trend. If it's something you genuinely enjoy, go for it. But if you're only doing it so people will think you're cool and you'll fit in,
And at that age, you're trying to figure out who you are. You've got to be adventurous a little bit. You've got to get out there and try some things. You got to get your bumps and bruises and you got to get your tail between your legs sometimes. And then you got to get it wagging too,
Andrea Rooster says being a teenager today would be overwhelming with all the technology. Jackie says I had insurance, just didn't grab it. We have the Jeep insured. I just got a verbal warning. Larry says when I was a teenager, I had a 57 Chevy, and I was a cool dude.
I bet you were. You're still a cool dude, Larry.
I was not a popular person in school. I mean, I was in certain circles.
I was
true
too.
of us all. Like as far as choir is concerned, everybody knew who I was.
We were the heads of the burnouts. My crowd was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it like an unofficial gang running around?
There were enough of us that we didn't get messed with.
Well, I mean, and burnouts was that like potheads and things like that.
Yeah.
As they would deem losers. Kind of like, all right, so in the 50s, was it? You had socias and greasers.
Yeah.
So you would be considered a greaser.
Right.
But, of course, that was back a little bit before your time.
Those styles were still, it was the 80s.
Yeah. So
we were coming up with our own trends, Big hair became a trend during my era.
And you had big hair, right?
I did. I sort of had a mullet, I think.
So
with real tight curly hair is difficult.
So you look like Weird Al Yankovic.
Very much, actually. Yes, that was my hairstyle. Except
you wore glasses.
I didn't use as much of the oil stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it was more of a
more of a fro.
It was very much like a fro, but not long enough to really be called that. It was more of the mullet.
I have all these different
I
songs.
mean, I get it.
playing
You're
in
trying to
my
make fun of me, but
No,
I'm
I'm not making
trying
fun
to
of
tell
you.
you what I had. So in the 80s, we still rolled our cigarettes up in our white T-shirt sleeve.
Really?
Yep. Let's see.
It's a handy place to keep them.
With the heads and the burnouts, leather, denim, you know, stuff like that was real popular.
Yeah. So I mean, you still have that that affinity for denim, though. I mean, I'm sure that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I never was a leather guy. I got leather because I ride a motorcycle, and I actually do like it. There's still some qualities that it has that I don't, you know, prefer it over denim, and then vice versa too.
Larry.
Denim doesn't cut wind. Leather does.
Yeah. Leather cuts a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And it'll also provide some extra protection.
Leather tends to have a sticky feel to it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And doesn't exactly breathe.
No.
So
if it's warm, you're going to be warm.
Yeah.
Or you're going to put it away.
That's why the shirt I got for whenever I ride, it's actually a coat. It's a jacket, and it's for summer riding. So, but yeah. Anyways, where are we going?
I was not successful in school. I was kind of pushed along. School was not for me. I did not follow that way of teaching very well.
You're more of a hands-on learner.
Yeah, and I think I had a lot of other things going on that I wasn't able to pay attention as closely as I should have. And I think I would have been if that had not been the case in my childhood. I think I would have probably been more attentive in school and more successful in school.
Yeah, if I were to be able to go back, there's a few things I would definitely do different. But
I don't know about that though. I could have done better in some ways, but not in others. I think that God had a plan for me, even though through free will and choices and survival, I came to be the person that I am now. And I don't I have regrets. I won't say I don't have regrets, but I don't think I'd change it. God put me in a place where I have a story and an ability to reach people and connect with people that are maybe a little less usual and otherwise wouldn't have somebody to connect with.
We forgot our first commercial.
Yeah, we did. I don't know who's calling.
That's probably, is it Rooster?
I hope it's not a cancellation.
Anyways.
I'm going to decline it and call it back later.
So, yeah, let's go ahead real quick.
We're going to do a commercial.
Oh, did you pull those up? That's what you were forgetting, I'll bet.
Yep, that's what I was forgetting. Remember?
It's a good thing. It makes it pretty easy to pull them back up again. So we'll go ahead and play two of them, back to back.
Yep.
And then
we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
I feel so sluggish. Who knows what to do?
Billings, Montana.
All right, and welcome Matt back. Matt will be right back. He went to get himself water. I got here late today, so I didn't have as many things done as I should have. And we hope you did appreciate we hope that you appreciated those commercials as well as we do. Remember, we do have a like and share campaign coming up where you could win $100 if you like and share the most. We can get that information. And that's mainly on Facebook. We have that's available to us. But we'd appreciate it if you'd like and share it off of YouTube as well.
Yeah, I shared mine off of YouTube.
Yeah, that's good.
A lot of people will click it and not realize it.
I do think. Can you imagine though how different it would be if your phone? Because remember, we used to stand around in circles when we were in school. We'd stand around and talk and stuff. I don't know about your groups.
Oh yeah.
We carved our own little spot out at the school where we had this place called the cave.
Yeah.
So there was a big spot where the first floor had a big overhang that was probably 100 feet deep and 200 feet wide, and then it was divided by this fire escape stairwell brick thing, and then on the other side was a smaller one. and we called that whole area the cave. Well, we took over the small area, and that was ours. We people just didn't go there, except for us. And there were a few others, but not very many.
Yeah, and then you always had that same table at lunch that you ate at with the same people.
I skipped lunch. I always went out to the park.
Smoked cigarettes.
Yeah, and did a lot of things that teenagers really shouldn't do. At least not teenagers in my position. What?
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
Well,
I learned to escape life really there, and did for a very, very, very long portion, a big portion of my life, learned to escape through drugs and alcohol. And that was a bad thing. But like I said, even though it's a regret personally, as far as my choices go, that led to a life that somehow God is able to use, and I'm grateful for what God's given me, and I'm grateful for the story of redemption that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that there are people who can relate to it, and we can connect through it.
I'll point out that the article that we're reading was written by a teenager.
Yeah. So
we're getting a teenager's point of view on this.
And we ended up where were Instagram, Snapchat?
Yeah. Social media is a huge factor. Now, don't get me wrong, he says. I'm a teenager, and I know how annoying it is to listen to parents talk about how social media never used to be like this, and how they never had a phone until university. However, they do have a point. The average teen goes to bed at night with their phone and look at all their accounts, such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, etc., etc. And while they're at it, they see girls' posts in bikinis or with friends. Now, here's when the jealousy factor comes into great use. Thoughts like, "Why can't I look like this?" and "How is this fair?" come to mind. As you continue scrolling, you see a picture with all your friends, but you, and thoughts such as with all of your friends but you, and thoughts such as, "Why wasn't I invited?" and "Do they even like me?" come into play. All bad things escalate, and way more stress is added after simply checking your Instagram feed. Morning, Susan Burrows. After seeing a few pictures of your friends in bikinis and wondering why you don't look like they do, you set unrealistic goals for yourself. After seeing posts of the girls in their bikinis, you think, well, maybe if I work out every day for the next 2 weeks and I don't eat, I can have a body like that. So you starve to make yourself look Instagram worthy. After a day or two, you realize that it isn't going to be possible to not eat. And you start to slowly adding food back into your diet, and slowly it gets back to your regular lifestyle, and it's over. Until the next time, society makes you believe that you're someone you aren't, and question every single one of your moves. Too short, too tall, fat, skinny, too fat. I mentioned that at the beginning.
A repeat of the same.
Yeah.
All of the criticism.
Imagine a world without any. Yourself. Yeah, and imagine a world without any judgment. Everyone could do their own thing with something that they're passionate about without being judged. You could wear whatever you wanted. You could participate in your choice of hobby. You could eat however you wanted. You could have confidence everywhere you went. And you could be certain that you could hear nothing but positive thoughts coming your way. Now I'll come back to reality.
Well, and that's the thing is, didn't we were able to isolate ourselves in the groups of people that we preferred, whereas it's not as easy now. Yeah. We did encourage and lift each other up, and we did have friends. We didn't have all that insecurity when we were planning to meet somewhere or do something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But now you got all that right in your pocket, and the people who weren't invited are there too. Mm. You know what I mean? The people who weren't.
Then you're feeling these awkward feelings, like face to face with them.
Yeah. So I think it's a unique and challenging time for teenagers.
I was a nursing. Larry says I was a nursing assistant, studying. I like that, studying to be a nurse for the VA hospital when he was 19. Those are some pretty interesting, heavy duty goals there for a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
So because I asked the question, what was for our viewers, what was something unique about your teenage years? Like, what do you remember the most about your teenage years? I remember being picked on a lot, trying really hard to be popular, and I was popular with the choir, but that was just choir. I was like, it's just choir. And there were those select few like popular people that were nice to all the unpopular kids, and they stuck out in my mind. You know what I mean? So, sorry, you guys can hear everybody talking.
I didn't get bullied much. I always stood up to the bullies in a very aggressive manner, and so I was kind of the bully crusher. And I was just a little tiny guy.
The bully crusher.
Well, yeah, and they would leave the class alone too, because oftentimes they would get so humiliated when it came to me, that they didn't. And I don't know why I ended up that way, but I was just willing and ready to fight. And I think I was preparing to be, I wanted to be tough, and I wanted to be capable of handling myself. I wanted to be a man who, didn't have to be fearful all the time. And so I tried to step out in courage. And of course I had heard, like everybody else, you got to stand up to them. And so I did,
Yeah. Yeah. And you, and you still have an affinity for standing up for the little guy.
Yeah. And I had this, like when I was very, very young, I was afraid of the monster under the bed, and I was terrified. And, I don't know how I did it or what happened, but one night I just was like, you know what? I can't be afraid like this. And I don't know how old I was. I was younger than 10 years old, quite a bit probably. And, I don't know what age kids are usually afraid of the monster under the bed, but I didn't call my parents or ask anybody for help. What I did was I put my foot on the floor and went to sleep.
Yeah. I
thought I remember thinking the words in my head, look, monster, if you're under there, you're going to have to get me, and we're going to have to get this over with, because I don't want you there. And I don't think we can, right. I don't think we can occupy this space together anymore.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't take it anymore. So I put my foot on the floor and went to sleep. And I was no longer afraid of the monster under the bed. I realized he was more afraid of me than I was of him.
Yeah. I when I came back from Florida when I was 11, I went through something pretty traumatic, with mom trying to commit suicide, my mom trying to commit suicide, in front of us. And I was scared to death of the dark. Like, I didn't even want to walk out through the field if it was dark out. And I had night terrors for a while where I couldn't sleep. That worked out really good whenever Dad was trying to quit smoking. It's the middle of the night, and he'd hear from the other end of the house, Dad, Dad. And I'd hear, what? But he only did that when he was quitting smoking. I woke him up numerous times throughout the night. And, looking back at that, but.
Now, I was socially awkward, though. I think, for me, the translation of the monster and the challenge and facing the bully, I felt like everybody was a monster. So I was always confrontational and ready to fight. I guess I was probably, I don't know how I came across to other people, but I know it wasn't, there were very few who could approach me and stick around me and be friends with me. And do you think that you have the same kinds of challenges that because of your maybe things that are positive, that some negative things came from that too?
So ask that question again to like,
do you think there's some positive things about your character that you did to overcome difficulties that maybe in life weren't on the long term positive? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, that's a big question.
Or that in some circles it wouldn't have been positive. It wasn't positive.
I'll have to think about that one, because there's a lot of stuff that I did that ended up not working out, like, for the good, that I thought
were useful for a time.
Yeah. But even when I was younger, I had problems, like especially whenever I was supposed to leave school and go to another class, like in another building. I should not have been given being able to make that decision from when I left the school at lunch to go to my last class of the day. There's always a bad decision in there that I could have made and did make many times to go to Uncle Mark's house because he lived in Willard down the street, and then just not go back to school.
Right.
So yeah, that was a bad
But
idea.
Uncle Mark was there for us. I had the same kind of experience with him, but if it wasn't at his house, I would have been out on the streets because I would have made the decision anyway. It's just I had a place to go where my uncle was there, and I don't think it ever went unknown.
Your brother took me in whenever. I mean, Dad wouldn't have let me be homeless.
No,
but your brother and his wife and his 5 beautiful children made room in their home for me. I'd sleep on Sean.
Is it time for another commercial? The last one?
Yeah.
Let me make
So,
sure I got the right one up there.
Yeah.
I need to see.
We'll be right back.
Where do I find the best signs for the best price?
I know where.
Welcome back.
And we're back.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make that silly face. Larry said that when he was a teenager, he said he was making what was it? He was making $27.50 per hour in the 60s.
Who?
Larry.
Oh wow.
That's a lot of money.
Skilled laborer, probably.
Yeah. Well, he was preparing people for surgery and then cleaning up.
Wow.
Teens today, Johnny Rooster, face pressure from the anti-family culture.
Yeah, I think so.
But it's also causing the family culture to rise up.
Yeah, I think there's always a positive thing to come from these things.
Yeah. Well, it has to balance out.
It does.
You know, there's enough oxygen in the atmosphere to sustain human life. Everybody that's here, and then with everybody on this planet,
there's enough carbon
dioxide. Yeah. And there was a they have a satellite that can see all the different waves and stuff, and can see the oxygen in the air and the carbon dioxide.
It can measure it.
Yes,
That's
and it shows how like the rainforest. Where is that at? Was it like where the Congo is and stuff like that? There's a rainforest and it shows the oxygen in the atmosphere that goes in overnight or during the day, and then like you can see like at night it breathes in the carbon dioxide, and then during the day it
flows out.
Yeah, flows out, and you can see. I mean it uses almost as much as it lets out. I mean, it's insane how that works.
It is pretty insane.
Man, that is so awesome.
Well, it's symbiotic. I'm not sure the term.
Symbiotic.
Now, Revelation 21:2-4 is the scripture for the day. Not to change the subject, except to change the subject. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, "Behold, the tabernacle of God is with me, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, no sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away." And, like a bride, it makes me think of family, and I think maybe that's why I recalled that to memory about family. Anyway, back to the article.
Yeah. Now come back to reality. You can't even walk outside a front door without being judged. You can't even make a post without being judged. Being a teenager is incredibly hard, to say the least. and for some, almost impossible. Wake up and realize that there's more to life than hating. We only have so many years in life. Why waste it trying to bring someone else down? Hate a little less and love a little more, and it's amazing how far that will take you. Too many lives are being ended way too soon. A huge factor is due to the little things said that maybe you are a part of without even realizing it. So don't go along with something that you aren't comfortable with or comfortable of. If you see some rude comments on someone's picture, say something, it says, all caps. Don't just sit behind your screen and read something that you're going to pretend never happened. Comments are hurtful. Some even end lives. Help someone, be their friend.
Now, I have to point out that I do not agree with that.
You do not.
I don't agree that comments end lives. I believe that people end lives, and their thoughts do.
Yeah.
And they're being able to manage and understand that they're letting things affect them to a point that's unhealthy, and to ask for help instead of acting out in those ways. I mean, people, I mean, I can't blame somebody else for the bad choices in my life and the things that I did that hurt other people, you know.
Although it doesn't.
Because in many ways, my friends influenced me, and many of those influences were bad and led to bad choices.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's.
I'm saying that if you feel like ending a life, your own or somebody else's, that's on you, and you need to make different choices to exclude certain influences from your life and make the right choices to go and get help, or to surround yourself with people who will encourage you and lift you up and build you up and love you and cherish you the way people should cherish one another.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and negative comments do hurt.
They do hurt. I'm not saying they don't.
But the decision is ultimately the person.
But comments don't end lives.
No, comments don't. The people.
Deadly force does.
Wow, our viewership just jumped up dramatically there. So welcome if you're just now joining us. We are talking about what it's like to be a teenager today.
I'm only seeing 3.
I'm seeing 10.
Huh. That's odd.
Yeah.
That we'd have a different amount.
Well, yours might be delayed on a different, because you're on a cell phone. So I don't know. It's dropping back down a bit. Larry says, oh yeah, Johnny Rooster said, they want kids to pull away from traditional life. That's what the anti-family culture is. Like, they've made it look like that being a wife and mother, and you know, a woman wanting to have a meal prepared for their husband by the time he gets home from work, and she wants to stay home with the kids. There's nothing wrong with that. They're making that look like it's a bad thing. Like, that women are better than that, and this, that, and the other. It's like, look, if a woman chooses to be a wife and mother full-time, it's a full-time job anyways, but to only do that and spend more time with her family, that's great.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. If you choose, if it's important to the woman to have a meal prepared for her husband by the time he gets home from work, that's okay.
Well, I watched this talk show with a woman who was a feminist from the early days, the 50s, 60s, 70s. And she now is talking about how she didn't agree with a lot of that stuff that feminism has evolved into, and she doesn't agree with it, and she won't condone it. And she says that she's seeing a lot of the feminists from her life that she knew who were going that way, who are now lonely and regret it, and are not happy, have no families.
Yeah.
So that's not always a good thing. Be careful about the things that you hold dear, and make sure that they're true.
So it's about time for us to get out of here. I guess I don't know what we're going to do next on the learning curve. We'll figure something out. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining us on the morning drive today. We'll be back on tomorrow, same time, same channel. Be sure and tune in next for the learning curve. See what kind of kooky stuff we're going to be messing with today. Followed by another classic episode. We're still working on getting that slot filled with something permanent. So until then, my friends, God bless you and keep you. We love you. My name is Matt.
My name is Jay.
And this has been
The Morning Drive.